Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So my name is Will, I'm a topiarist, I'm 30 years old, married, have a beautiful son, he's 10 months old now, and a Christian. So this video is going to be a chance to get to know me, as well as clipping a little bit of Lemon Cypress. So I put up a question on my Instagram asking for you guys to fire some questions away at me that I can answer on my first video as a good way of getting to know me. So I'm going to answer those questions while clipping this Lemon Cypress. Now I had a go at a couple of smaller ones yesterday. I haven't actually done much work with Lemon Cypress before, so it's really fun to have a little bit of a play around and a go with them. These are great for all sorts of different topiary pieces, and this is going to be a piece that I'll make that can then sit on the table and just look really cool in the house. They can go outside, but I wouldn't leave them outside in heavy frost, so I'd bring them in. So let's get started. Tools. I have 3 different tools here. We have Nowaki Garden Snips, Nowaki Sentai, I believe you pronounce it, clippers, and the Nowaki Tobisho topiary clippers here. The reason I got 3 different ones is there's 3 different blade sizes and width. They get thicker as you go along. And this is quite a small, thin, delicate plant, and actually sometimes the tiny little blades can be really good on it. So I want to turn this into a spiral. So what I'm going to do is just begin cutting out at around about a 45-degree angle all the way round until we reach the top. Now the issue we have with this one is there is quite a few multi-stems in here. We've got the central leader in the middle. So as I cut these out lower down, it will leave some gaps and spaces. So this will be a rough shape to start with, but I would imagine in the next year or two, we're going to end up with a much thicker and nicer spiral from there. So it's a little bit of a work in progress, as this will be its first clip. So question number 1, I had loads of these questions actually, and that was all about how did I get into this in the first place. So while I clip, I'm going to explain how I got into the industry. So I started off as a gardener when I was 18, and I became self-employed at this point. So this was back in 2011. So I began then, and I was already doing a part-time job at a place known as the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust, and I just wanted a job to earn some money really. Gardening was not really a full career choice that I wanted to make. I thought it would just be simply to earn some money. I met a guy who was gardening, and I just thought, he offered me some work, and I thought, perfect, I can earn a bit of money out of this and go from there. So I begin gardening for this guy. I've become self-employed, I'm only subcontracted at this point, and I actually start to quite enjoy it. I've always enjoyed being outside, which I really love. Quite enjoying it. I'm asking him all sorts of questions. And again, it was just to earn money to begin with. It wasn't a career choice. But a few years in, I do begin to think, actually, I reckon I could start a career in this. So I then have a little chat with this guy and say, look, I'd like to set up my own clients. He was really good. He said, that's fine. I'm working then 5 days a week at this point. I've stopped my part-time job. And I started to take on some of my own work. He helped me find some of the jobs, which was really helpful. And then I could then obviously take on some jobs and some work of my own, and just began to build a clientele from there. So that's where it all began. I first started doing all sorts of different things, so like pressure washing, you know, your lawns, your hedges, the borders, anything I could get I took on to start with. And that was because I just wanted the work. This is just starting to get a little bit of a curve to it now, or the top one. I'm then going to put a bottom curve in to create a little bit of a rounder edge on it. But yeah, that's starting to take shape. I'm also going to cut this edge in just so it ends up more of a V shape that I want up towards the very top tip, which I'm not going to clip. So yeah, I'm doing all sorts of work at this point. And then in the end, I'm fully self-employed. So I've left this guy doing all sorts of different things. And I was enjoying it, don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. But there was one part of the job I just loved more than all, and that was the hedges and creating shapes out of plants. And I wondered if I could make a career out of just doing that. So then I begin niching down. I decide, this was only 2-3 years ago now, I decided to go see if I could go full-time just doing topiary and hedges. I'm now probably 80-90% of my work is literally just topiary and hedges. So it's gone really well as we've gone along. And it all started, I needed to get some work out there, so I just took some pictures of some of the work I was doing. I went and volunteered for a guy because I knew he had some beautiful shrubs that I could cut. He was a head gardener. He said, yeah, you can cut them and then stick them up online. So I do that. And things just began to escalate from there, really. More work began coming in. For the first year when I wanted to make that change, I was working for a little old lady and she had these little euonymus shrubs, and I said, look, can I clip that into a nice ball? She said yes, clipped that into a ball. Again, that brought in more work, and I began to just niche down into topiary and hedges, which went really well. From there, it went quicker than I thought. It was a big step. We were talking about starting a family. You know, was this the right time to make a step where it may work, it may not? But it did, it worked really well. So that's where it all started. This is where I am now, doing topiary and hedges, and I want to take you on that journey this year. Next question we have is, what's your favourite shape to cut and why? So while I answer this one, you can see already I've just started to create a spiral. It starts down here, comes up, up, all the way up to the top, where I'll probably just curve that in at the end. And it's getting a little bit more of a V shape to it as well. So next up, I'm just gonna, I'll probably start at the bottom here, begin to create where the bottom's gonna start, and I'm just gonna round this off now and follow that same curve, but just underneath it to create the bottom part of the spiral. So there's a bit to come out here. So while I do that, my favourite shape to cut and why would probably be stuff like where you've got a lot of different box balls or different ball shapes grouped together, and it creates a cloud-like design. So when you look across at it, it looks like clouds. The reason I love that is just because I live in the South Downs on the south coast, and I just find it's so beautiful seeing the rolling hills as I walk around here. And to be able to create that in someone's garden where you just get these beautiful curves all joining together and smoothly rolling along, I would say is my favourite shape to cut. Now when it comes to cutting a ball, it sounds like a very simple shape, but it is actually a very hard shape to do. I've done those before, and trust me, it is very difficult. You've got so many different angles you can view it at, which make it quite a hard one to do as well. So yeah, I'd say that's my favourite shape, and that's why, because I live down on the south coast here, and I get to see all of the beautiful rolling hills of the South Downs as we go on our daily walks with my family. Next up, what solution should I use to sterilise trimmer blades between gardens? Now it is really important to sterilise your trimmer blades. You're going to help stop the spread of diseases. There's a lot of different diseases for plants nowadays. So obviously the more we can do to stop that, the better. So yeah, I would recommend using, there's stuff like Citrox, I believe it is. I use bleach, and a very, very diluted, obviously you don't want to pour pure bleach onto your blades, but very diluted down. So I'll have a bucket of water with me, and I'll put 1 cap of bleach in that bucket, and then that way we can ensure that it's nicely sterilised by dipping the tools in there. Now if it's on hedge trimmer blades, then probably what you're going to want to do is get a little spray bottle. They're like £1-2, and then just spray it onto your blades from there. And then that way you're going to keep your blades nice and clean. So yeah, I'm just starting to get this shape come in now. So you can start to see it curving around. Next up we have greatest achievement / proudest moment of 2022. Obviously one of my proudest moments was becoming a dad. That happened in 2022 for the first time, and that has just been absolutely incredible to become a dad. It's one of the most amazing things, even like more incredible than I thought it would be. It has just blown my mind how amazing it is to be a dad. But from a work point of view, I would say there was two probably main moments for me in 2022. One was doing Chelsea. I didn't have my own garden, but I helped Richard Myers. He designed the garden, and then I came along and did the topiary for him, which was really nice to be a part of that. And that went on to win People's Choice Award of the year. So yeah, that was really cool to be a part of that and just clip some of the shrubs for him. As well as there's a show, Garden of the Year, and the garden that won that, you can watch it on More 4. There's a garden in Cheshire, and I had the joy of going up there the previous year and cutting the topiary and hedges for the garden there in Cheshire. So yeah, that was obviously a very proud moment of mine as well. To see that on TV and think I've worked on the shrubs and the plants there too. The two main moments. I will be hopefully going up to Chelsea again this year. I'm just in talks with someone at the moment who's asked me to go and cut some of their shrubs and plants for them. So I should be doing that this year as well. I want to let this spiral get taller. I don't want this to be the final piece. So I'm not going to clip too hard on this. This needs to get some growth on it. But you can see that I'm just following the spiral round up here, curving it into the top, not cutting the top piece off. And then that way, this is starting to take shape. You can start to see the spiral curving round. I think that's a lot of your questions answered. So this spiral is now coming along. I'm just going to be finishing this up. In fact, I'm going to change clippers now, just for some of the finishing details. So there we go. I've just been adding the finishing touches here, and that is how you create a spiral. I hope you've got to know me a little bit better on this video. And any questions, fire them away in the comments. What sort of videos do you want to see this year? Obviously, I'm really keen to hear what you want, what sort of length videos, and then I can try and make that happen for you. But I will see you on the next video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And that is how you create a spiral. So again, 45-degree angle round, curve it in as you go. And then it just needs a bit of time to thicken up and grow out just to get the finishing touches on it. I'll see you next video.